Disclaimer, we'd like to note before the start of this interview that the opinions about to be expressed by the guest on tonight's Gettin Salty Experience podcast are that of the guest and do not directly or necessarily reflect the views of the host of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Hello! I didn't do the lean back. Hello! Joe from Rochester, I got him.
The bottom there.
I got to get it from the bottom.
You get it? No, you're getting the...
Hello! Joe from Rochester. Welcome back to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Cons, don't do that ever again.
The only one that brings
I'm sorry.
kitchen table to you and everything involved in the firehouse kitchen table, including really fresh, crispy haircuts. Well, we bring that to you. Thanks to Gonzo. Not me. Thanks to Gonzo. Turn to the side, Gonzo. Let me see.
What do you want to say?
No, the other one. The other one.
Wow.
That's
That is crispy.
Gons, if they ever ask what your best side is,
Wow.
it's the right side. No, it's the right side.
Yeah. Did you get a free bowl of soup with that haircut, bro? What?
But it looks good on you, though.
Oh, on you. Wait. It's the parking
What
lot.
do they charge you down there in Florida for something like that?
That's got to be $30.
25.
You give them a tip?
That's
Yeah,
with
stay out of the stock
That's
market.
with the tip.
That's with the tip.
So it's like $24.99 and you give $25.
It's some of them.
Only a shekel, like
You
one
know,
dollar.
My wife's half Jewish. Oh, you know,
I got to watch my Benjamins or my pennies. I don't have any here, but I got to watch it.
Nice.
This girl, she's been cutting my hair for 25 years now.
Whoa.
She's just retiring.
She's retiring now.
She
So
moved.
who's going to cut your hair then?
The girl next door.
Oh,
Moose.
I'm
Right
in
over.
love with the girl next
Is she
door.
mousse? The girls use mousse a lot when they do that. They don't use gel. They mousse it.
And they put it on their hands and they go like one of these, like one of these. I would like that's what I remember anyway from a long
Cool.
time.
You remember the mousse? We used to use mousse like in the 80s, right? That was a big thing.
Yeah, bro. Before that was gel, like dippity do, whatever you put in it, put a little dippity do on it.
Then we went to the mousse for a while. We definitely used mousse.
Yeah,
I don't
mousse
care who
flavor.
you are. In the 80s, you had mousse.
You got some kind of product in there. What do you
Oh
got?
yeah, without a gel, just straight up gel, man. I use
Oh,
gel.
you're going with the gel.
Yeah, I've been using it for a while. It's good.
It looks good. Bro.
It's
Nice.
clean.
Looks really good on you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, can we change the subject?
He's
Get along.
got a hockey jersey because we got a guy who's part firefighter, part hockey player, basically. So Roofy's like,
Ref, too.
oh my God. Give him a boing, down. Come on.
No, we're gonna give him a little bit of. It's gonna be all about this tonight.
Gons already knew it was
I
going to
thought it was going to be the other one.
Oh, did you what?
Nobody cares about hockey. That includes everyone.
Idiot.
I don't even know what commercial we have right now.
It's all together now. Sorry.
I think we got to make up for a commercial. Last week we didn't have.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, should we run all three tonight or what?
Yeah, do it, man. Whatever you got to do.
All right.
Let's get to it so we can get Rico Suave in
Rico,
here.
yeah.
Rico
Yeah.
Suave.
All right, here we go. Armor Tough.
Armor Tough Firehouse flooring was recently installed in Station Number 7, the newest of the DeKalb County fire stations in Decatur, Georgia. Meeting Deputy Chief Smith of Support Services, Vince explained that Armor Tough interlocking flooring is the only floor that is tough enough to withstand the abuse of fire apparatus, along with fire personnel at a very busy station. Chief Smith explained, "The flooring in all of our stations over the years gave us multiple problems. We need a floor that can last as long as the walls and the roof. That's why we chose Armor Tough. The installation team came from New Jersey, and in 3 days, they had completed their work without any disruption to our daily operations. We were very impressed with not only the product, but with the workmanship as well. I highly recommend Armor Tough for your station's floor." Call Vince today for a no-obligation quote at 908-917-7697.
crazy.
Fantastic. It's crazy. So what do we usually? We only usually have one commercial today, right?
We were supposed to, but we didn't do
We'll play
Thursday.
the other two later on.
Okay, you got it. You just let me know when.
We got a couple of new guys watching the show live for the first time. John,
Yeah, I just said hello, Johnny
and John in Guardia. They like them apples.
Yeah, I was scrolling through there. I'll have to get back to that. Well, welcome, guys.
Dude, I got to tell you, man. In the pre-show, I was looking for Rod Serling from what do you call it? What show did he used to do?
Sports show?
No, he used to do the what do you call it show? I just got a brain fart. Somebody's gonna know in the chat.
What's the name?
His name is Rod Serling. Back in the 60s, they used to do the show. Come on, somebody in the chat help
Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone.
Thank
you.
I got it before Joe did. I got it before Joe did.
You did. I thought I was in the Twilight Zone before. We had Ruffy and two black dudes talking about hockey.
I said that. Mike was Coos was trying to talk about basketball, and they were like
trying to bring it back out of the hockey realm. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to talk about
MC's talking about Eisenman.
Talking about hockey.
MC's talking about Eisenman and everything.
Well, you know what? This guy should have really been in his jersey should be hanging in the rafters. So,
it was kind of like,
the fuck is that?
That's what I was saying. I was like, what's going on here, man?
Nobody got time for that.
Nobody got time for that.
All right, let's bring him in here, Ruff. You get it. This is your day.
This is my guy, man.
You got your jersey on.
I'm not kidding. From the second I talked to him, so we both did 27 years. We both gone on in 1993. We both retired in 1990. And he plays hockey. And he's a referee now. I mean, the
dude. When he first talked to
this is gonna be cool. This is gonna be Lou. Like, what's up, buddy?
You know, when you're back in the day when you're like in your 20s, you're like, dude, I met this chick last night, bro. That's what it was like when you called me, dude. I talked to this guy Flint. Loves hockey. He's a great guy. All right, slow down, bro.
Never done it.
I think I might have to give him the money gun for you. You know,
something.
He's over there dying in the background.
You bring him in, bro. He's your guy.
All right, coming all the way from Flint. And they even have water now.
And it's
Firefighter Rico Phillips.
Rico!
Holy shit, man. What an intro. Wow. Hey, first of all, I got to say this, Gonzo. I think I'm getting short change here. I pay $20 for my haircut. Every 2 weeks, whether I want it or not.
All right, come on down.
Come to America, bro. Come to America.
Maybe some olive oil.
That'll be $8.
Rico gets. Hold on a minute. Yeah, that'll be $18, Rico.
Nice.
Look at me, bro. Come on.
Yeah, let's get going.
All right, let's get patriotic before we start making fools of ourselves here.
All right, here we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
I also listen. I see my girl Susie in the chat. We haven't seen her in a while. That's for Susie. We missed you, Susie. You and Lee. All our love. Firstly from Louis. Louis over. He's got love spewing out all over himself.
All over the place. I don't know. This guy's a little upset right here. Red
Get
Wings.
this guy out of here.
Where is John from?
That's so bad, buddy.
Where could John be from?
Red Wing.
Where do you think he's from, Ruffy?
Jersey. From Jersey,
probably. He's a Jersey guy, you think?
I don't know.
Detroit, actually. Well, we'll see if he chimes in. Let's see if he chimes in.
All right. All right, let's talk. Where do you want to start? You want to start on hockey? You want to talk about the fire department?
Way back. Let's start way back. Let's go start early days.
You know what? Let's go back to when there was a young Rico running around playing Army or whatever you were playing, or hockey. Where did you grow up? What was family life for Rico in the early days, bro?
Yeah, for sure. I was born here in Flint, Michigan. Really raised here, but interesting lifestyle. My mom was German, and so I grew up with a German when I went inside the house, I was in Germany. Outside, good old USA. I'm telling you. But anyways,
Being a schnitzel and all
yeah,
that.
Venus schnitzel, not just that. Eat, Rico, eat. I had to eat everything.
I freaking love it.
It scarred me, to be honest with you. But anyways, I grew up
That's
in
funny.
Flint, not far from downtown Flint, and when I was a little boy, it's like a lot of the viewers here today, they watched Emergency. I'm 54 years old. I watched Emergency. It was first time any of us got a chance to see what firefighters actually do. I actually do. Look, I got a novel.
What?
Hey, I got that. It's a ringtone I got. But anyway,
What's that?
Turn out, man. Turn out.
I had the emergency vehicle and the dolls too, bro.
Yeah, so those were all my toys were fire trucks and shit. I was pretty fanatic, guys.
Really?
To be honest, I'm serious, man. So
that was before hockey then.
I was way before hockey. I didn't even get into hockey until I was in high school. So it's kind of crazy, but
I've been drinking a lot.
That's what I was just gonna say.
So in fact, I remember asking my mom for a yellow raincoat, and I had a red plastic fire helmet. And on Sundays, man, my dad would barbecue every Sunday, and we had one of those nice grills built out of brick mortar and with a chimney. Yeah. And he pulled that last slab off. He said, "Oh, there you go, Rico. You can have it." And he knew exactly what the fuck I was getting ready to do. And I was pretending I had a fire, and I go over there and put that shit out. Just hardcore, man. I thought I was. And so that's where I kind of got the whole idea that I really wanted to do this type of work. And I followed.
You had no family in the business? You had no family that was firefighting?
No family in the business. It was just that television show, man. And they hired me. But when I got a little bit older, I was trying to decide, well, how in the hell do I prepare to do this? And I took a first aid and CPR course over at the Red Cross. Seemed like a novel idea, except when I got there, I realized I was the only kid in the whole fucking class. These are all people had to get this certification so they can, for their jobs or whatever. And here this 8th grader is going, I want to learn. And I was fucking so scared, man. And I was about to leave. I remember thinking my mom dropped me off is the only reason I couldn't leave. So I had to stay the course that day. And when I was leaving, one of the people or one of the adults in the class asked me if I was coming back next time or they'll see me next time. And I was like, damn. They put me under their wing, guys, and they actually helped me and I helped them because I gave them inspiration. If this kid can do it, I can do it. And I got certified, man. And then I had these cards. Oh, yay. What the fuck am I going to do with those, right? I was waiting for somebody to go down, man.
Stay away from the light, little buddy.
I know, let me get I have a fucking wallet to put them in now that I think about it. But anyways, I got into high school and I got this rare opportunity. Our athletic trainer in the school was looking for somebody to be the water boy. It's a better term to call a student athletic trainer. But that's where I got my start because I thought,
oh shit, you Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, I was. I literally was. So listen,
hey, Rico, water sucks. Gatorade's better.
I was that guy too, man. Fucking
something wrong with your
I'll fix your ass.
I got my start dealing with patients and injuries and shit. So I was kind of trying to mold myself into what the future would be. And my sophomore year is when I got an opportunity to work with the hockey team, and I was assigned to the hockey team. And I knew a little bit about the sport, but it was when I was on the bench and I seen it actually happen. I said, "Holy shit!" Like that. I had to learn how to ice skate, and so I learned how to skate with the team, which was crazy because we had a really good team.
What are we talking here? Is this high school?
15 years old. Yeah. And so 15 years old, I decided I wanted to join the sport, and I started playing when I definitely should not have been yet. I had so much snot on the chin. I just wiped my chin off, not my nose and shit. And from guys hit me so hard, man. I'm telling you, it was crazy times back then. Somehow my dumb ass stayed in the sport, but I found my passion. And but I got to tell you, in the meantime of that, I still kept the course. I wanted to be a firefighter, and I had this this mind-blowing experience while in high school. As a student trainer, I was assigned to the baseball team, and our star pitcher collapsed and went to full arrest. And I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And I tell young people this when I tell the story. I said, remember them cards I told you I don't know what to do with? Fuck, I had to do something with those cards. And his parents were there. The whole team was there. And I'm doing chest compressions. And
holy shit. So it kicked in like that, bro? Did you?
Fuck, kicked in. It took me a half a second because I was thinking he was just hit his head. He was in seizures, and I'd never seen a seizure before. So I'm going and I'm trying to grab smelling salts, which was the cure for shit like that back then. And the coach said, Rico, get your ass over here. And it kind of snapped me too. And then when I got there, just started doing the ABCs and noticed he wasn't breathing. And I started doing chest compressions at 15 years old on this kid that I go to school with. And his mom was helping me. And as I'm doing chest compressions, she's all shook up and she's just blowing air in his belly. I can't do chest compressions. He's puking all over. It turned into a mess. Long story shorter, they whisked him to the hospital, and I watched him shock him 2 or 3 times there on scene. And what little I knew from the show Emergency, I said, we did everything we could. We started right away. They shocked him. He's going to be okay. He's 18. And he died, you guys.
Wow.
That day was a day that I thought I wanted to walk away from this idea of helping people this way because I felt like I failed, right? Like we were there. Yeah. And it wasn't fucking emergency. Emergency, everybody lives.
Everybody lives in emergency, right?
Everybody lives. And so for me, it was not only that, he was a guy I go to school with. There was a pressure. Right. But it was his mom and the rest of the team who gathered around me about 4 days after this happened at the school. They called me down to the office. I was kicking rocks all the way there because I'm like, what the fuck did I do? I just don't want to talk to anybody. Right? Leave me alone. And his mom put her arms around me and she said, thank you. And she said, thank you for giving me hope and giving all of us hope.
Wow.
And that's the day, my friends, when I realized what my destiny is. Like, I tell this story all the time to young people. Like, we can't stop the crisis from happening most occasions, right? But all we do is that we're that fucking hope, man. When you pick up that phone, the hope begins. Or when the idea comes, I got to call. And when we get there, we're the most important thing in their hope field is getting these things. And so I got an early lesson in that and helped kind of prepare me for what the future would hold for me. So anyways, moving into my career, I got to admit, I'd be a dumbass to not admit this, that how fanatic I was. I was fanatic to a point that it was stupid. I used to visit the fire station when I was a teenager. When I was 13 years old, I'd go down to Station 1, our main station, and I'd get to know the guys. In fact, I'd come in on shift 3 all the time, like as if it was my shift and shit, and say hi to the guys. And one time I was coming through the basement of the station. It was always wide open down. The guys parked in the basement of the station. And I was coming by this door and it was cracked open. I said, what the fuck's in there? And I opened it up and it was the quartermaster's room. And I said, holy shit. This is where all their shit is. And I got overwhelmed, man. I got to tell my own story. Yeah. And I'm up about an hour. And then finally, my dumb ass puts shit in a bag. And I fucking throw it on my shoulder like I'm Santa Claus, hitchhike on my bike up the road. And I take the shit home to pretend I'm a firefighter, right? I'm 13 years old. I'm buddies with all the firefighters. My mom, I love my mom. She said, wait a minute, Rico. Where did you get this stuff from? Mom, the firefighters threw it out. And then she says, oh, they threw it out. Next day, she called the fire department, man. And the fucking battalion comes to my house. And this is a battalion I knew. I'm like under the sheets. He's like, thank you, ma'am. And I'm thinking, oh, fuck, I'm in trouble. So a few weeks go by and I show back. I had the balls to show back up to the firehouse. And the officer said, come here. First time I'd ever went upstairs where the dorms are was that day. Officers called me in and said, you disappointed us, man. We can't allow you to come back, man. We know you're a good guy, but you crossed the line. And I was heartbroken.
Oh my God, really?
Leave this shit, right? So I still didn't lose my scope. That is what I wanted to do. I just didn't know where, if I end up in Flint or not. But as chance would have it, I followed my quest and I started going to school. And after high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly, but I knew I wanted to be a firefighter. So I started the journey from there, man. It's kind of
thanks for telling that story.
I'm very vulnerable telling that type of story because
that's good, man.
Let me tell you a quick story. In lieu of that, one of the veteran firefighters, I may talk about him more than once, George Woods. Those that are listening know George is cracking up right now. They know he's going to say some silly shit. the assistant chief was having lunch with us. He was drinking soup, and I was a young firefighter. And he says, "Hey, chief, I know why you hired Rico." He said, "Why is that?" "He came fully equipped."
Oh, some of the guys knew. Some of the guys.
Oh yeah. He's one of the first ones. Said when I first got on the job, he says, "Hey, aren't
I
you the
remember
one that
you."
brought me out in front of when I'm in the academy?" So I had to go tell everybody in the academy so I can tell my story. "You stole that radio and equipment." I'm like, "Oh fuck!" I'm only in here about 6 weeks now, and I'm like, "Oh fuck this dude!" And he winds up being like my best friend in the whole world.
Really?
He's passed away, God rest his soul, but he's one of the best guys I ever got to know in the department.
So do you take a test there? Like, is it a competitive test?
Yeah. So yeah, we took a civil service exam. It was like 2,000 people applying for 18 jobs, and that was my second time taking it.
2,000 people for 18 jobs.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's crazy.
First time I took it, I didn't get the job. I made it as far as the oral interview, but there was a hiring freeze that happened, so I didn't get the job. So I had to go through the whole thing all over again. And that's when there was 2,000 for 18. And by then I'd become a Flint Township firefighter, though. So I had some credentials that were working in my favor now. So I moved out of the
volunteer.
Yeah, it's volunteer. We call them on-call firefighters because they're paid when they're on the call.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so not fully volunteer, but paid while they're working. And so that's when I went to Flint Township and got my start in all this, it was a real learning curve. We did things differently. Like the chauffeur was the only firefighter at the station. He was the officer, the driver, the firefighter. He's everything.
Did it all.
Still do it to this day.
The mayor.
Right? So they show up to the call, and then the
Lou, take a ride on the next level. All right, I'll take a ride over here. Yeah. Transmit the 1075. All right, I'll transmit the 1075.
Start water. All right.
Yeah, man, you're fucking around. So
Bring me water. Here comes your water.
They show up on the scene, then the on-call guys show up because they're full timers.
Right.
And the on-call guys show up, and then they're the crew. So imagine going to a huddle and going, "All right, who we got here?" You got to know everybody's capabilities right now, and based on who you got right now, right? So it was kind of crazy times for me, getting my teeth dirty. But I remember my first fire there. It was at a grocery store with my wife, and we had the pager. The pager went off. Holy fuck! You know, in line. And the lady's like, "What do I do?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what." I ripping the fuck out, man. And I'm like, get our groceries. I'll meet you out front. And so then I drive like a fool out of hell to go to this chimney fire. It wasn't a big fire, but it was my first, right? And so
I broke your cherry.
I'm on scene, and I'm shaking and trying to get my nerves straight. And I'm like, okay. But I got to tell you guys, my first month as a firefighter in Flint Township, I found out was really some of the worst parts of our jobs. And one weekend, we pulled a grandmother and two small kids out of house, and we didn't pull them out in time. They had burned significantly by the time we got to them, and so it was afterwards a recovery. And I just never forget the one thing that stuck on my mind is when we got inside to get to the kids, they were actually in bed still, and they were hugging each other, and they looked like little dolls. You know, you're like, fuck. And then I turned around and I seen the smoke detector hatch was open and dripping down, and there was no battery in it. And it fucking stuck in my mind. It fucking stuck in my mind. Like, holy shit! If they could have just known, they could have got out of here. Right. And so that was. And then 2 days later. Like I said, we respond to the emergencies, and the idea was to meet the truck there. Well, this fucking fire happened. This is a car accident actually happened right around the block from me on the expressway. And this van jumped over all of the road and crashed down, and then the motor smashed back on this guy's leg and had him trapped. And as I'm coming across, there's no truck, nobody on scene yet, just me. And I watched this van take off, and then I see this guy scream to death, man. There's nothing I could do.
Oh, shit.
Face fall. It was fucked up. You know?
Oh, my God.
It was a rude awakening to the job. And I remember we didn't have critical incident stress management then yet, you know. And so this is 91, actually. And I remember kind of
up, Johnny.
saying, I'm okay. And the chief said, "Get your ass to the station now." And then I talked to other guys. They said, "Man, none of us have ever seen anything close to anything like that, dude." So, and I share those two stories because it really helped set my career up in a sense. Like anything I was gonna have to overcome now, if I'm still here, it hasn't killed me, so I'm going to be all right. You know, it's not going to be easy, but the one thing I was able to gather is empathy for others that were going through similar situations. Right. They were.
Well, they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
Fucking A, man. Wow.
Dude, I haven't seen that.
Right. Before we get to the paid career, you had a short career as a singer, right?
As a singer? No.
Didn't he have a?
Oh, yeah. It can't be good.
I think he does, right?
He knows it. Wow. Are you kidding me? It fucking drove me nuts.
That shit.
So it became my nickname. Suave. Hey, Suave. I'm sure some guys are cracking head up.
Oh, my God.
I was Suave for quite a few years of my life.
Oh yeah,
really
yeah. When was it? That was like the middle '90s, right?
Oh, 1990, bro.
These guys that are on listening right now, young guys are going,
What the fuck is that?
No,
my wife was like doing the Rico Suave. She's like,
I did that one to a guy recently, and he looked at me, what the fuck? Never mind.
Catchy tune, man. That's a good one. That's what you say.
I mean, every time. I mean, if you ever hear Rico, the name Rico, I mean, if it Suave doesn't pop into your head, I don't know what the heck is going on. If you grew up in that time, right? I think he was a one-hit wonder too.
Yeah, I was gonna say one-hit wonder. What he looks like now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm never gonna try to put that shit.
Did you see Rico's face when you're like, yeah, he had a singer career? It was like this.
Yeah, I put that on there.
we'll probably get copyrighted for that little thing.
No, hopefully not. That's why we have a video recorder. So hopefully
I got you.
Let's see.
Keep it short.
Yeah, they can use all the money you can get, I'm sure, on that side.
No, don't. Yeah, well, they'll take that shit.
Yeah, probably, right? He probably needs a few bucks, that guy.
Gabe Fox goes, that too with your Z Cavarici. Oh, yeah, bro. The member only jacket, bro.
Oh, yeah, man. I had
my face hurts already.
Z Cavaricis and parachute pants. That's
Little Abners. I had little Abners.
And the shirt was the Baron shirt, the Izod shirt, bro.
Yeah. Hey. Oh, Calvin Klein.
Jordache.
You're rich if you had Jordache, though.
Hey, listen, if you're a hockey guy, what was you remember Ronnie Duguay in his commercial? What pants did he have on, Coobs? You remember? Ooh,
Ronnie Duguay,
La Sassoon. Him, Phil Esposito, John Davidson. They all had
La Sassoon.
That was like the 70s, I think.
Oh shit. All right.
Yes, exactly. Brian Weber, thanks. That's going to be playing for the whole show.
Be like this all night. Rico.
Oh,
my fucking face hurts.
All right,
let's get back to the point stuff.
Yeah, that was right before he went pro, if you will.
Yeah.
Professional.
Before he played hockey, he had no shirt going.
Hold on, we got a couple of pictures of him in Proby.
Yeah. So this is my first turnout gear.
We have
hey, how's that? You had a little skin on my bones then, right?
Hey, Cougs, he's got the porn mustache, the 80s porn mustache, right?
Wow, bro. Look at that.
We all had the mustache. Everybody had a mustache back then.
It looks like Mike Cologne.
Yeah, man.
It does look like Cologne.
There he goes with the fog nozzle. Doing it.
For sure. Man.
What else you got? This is the Proby pictures?
This is what I have here.
Oh, yeah. This is right after guys I hired in with on the sheet next to it. I don't know how it is where you guys are, but we all had to buy ice cream for the crew after that shit. So it was a running joke.
Ice cream or a square bag?
Well, hey, I'm just saying ice cream. I'm just saying.
That's the IE, you know.
Hey, man.
I didn't see you do this. I had to buy ice cream.
Before it's over, I bought many gallons and gallons and gallons of ice cream.
A lot of butter pecan going around there.
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
All right, so you get called. You're doing the on-call pay thing, and then it's not too long after you get hired. Though, right?
Yeah, within a year, I was with the city where I would always intended to be. That's where I visited as a kid, and got my inspiration from guys like Sam Stewart and Jack Smythe, who I'd noticed. Like I said, I used to visit, so I already had my inspiration there. And then when I started, there was 18 of us, and we went through probably the first academy where we had to do PT and all these other shit, and so it was new. We had a chief from Detroit who left Detroit to come up there to be our chief, and he impressed we had to be runners, and I was never a runner, man. I fucking hated that part of the shit, man. But I tell you what, we bonded together because there was a new challenge by all of us and shit like that. You know how it goes when you're in the academy. It's good stuff, man. And most of those guys, we ended up having a great career out of it. Some of them left earlier than others, but you know how that goes.
Yep.
How was it when you first got into the firehouse?
I was when my first group, what they did with us is you had to write. There was a engine, pumper, and then a squad which respond to every fire. We only had 2 squads in the city. They were our air supply as well as all the equipment and manpower. So the role and the engine would be also medical emergencies as well as running on first runs on fires or all the other emergencies. And then we did have a ladder truck back in the day. It was at the time that I was there, it was only manned by one person.
One guy?
Yeah, one guy. It's still that way. In fact, they may even swing the guy over there now. I'm not sure. Swing the whole crew over if they need a ladder. So yeah, it was.
There's only one ladder company in Flint.
Only one ladder company in Flint.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah,
They're going to fires too, right? I mean, they're going to fires.
They were going. That ladder company though was only responding to commercial structures and high rise, of course. So
and VES, the engine companies.
Yeah, for the squad company did the
squad. Who's going to work? Can't keep the squad down, bro.
Right. So we had 2, and they went to every fire, no matter what. So when I first started, you were assigned either station 1 or 3 because they had both all the trucks, or you had to rotate maybe. But you spent 1 month on the ambulance, 1 month on the squad, 1 month on the pumper. And so my first month was. Them boys were just looking for fresh meat. I got on that fucking box, that ambulance, man. I was like, God, man, I was on it for 30 days, man, or 9 shifts. And I was like, because we do 24 hours on, 48 hours off with Kelly Day. So it's 9 shifts. And paid 50.4, And so my first month, man, I got dogged out in an ambulance, but it was crazy because I was with a driver, Dave Berlinski. And he was assigned to it. That was his job, just to drive the ambulance at the time. We had first drivers on the ambulance. That was like the worst thing you could do to a guy, man. He was tortured by that work all day, every day. So here I am, a rookie probie. Hell, I can't wait to go on the next freaking call, man. And he's like, the fucking these months. He's just everything, man. But bring the spirit down. So by the time I got there, it was almost like, what's wrong? It's just barely want to talk to anybody, but it's just because he's burned out on that type of work, and they ended up changing the system around. So it wasn't quite like that. But so my first,
what kind of rig did the squad have, Rico?
So it was, so may have seen you'll see a picture later of our first, it was basically a milk truck. It was a panel truck. And it had maybe 10 or 12 bottles on it to change over, and then the jaws of life are on it, the fans are on it.
Truck tools too? Or?
Yeah, some truck tools. Yeah, we all basically had the axe. In our department, you were a truckie, you were engine guy, you were everything, man.
Trying to get a better picture of it, but is that what it looks like?
It's similar to that. Yeah. There's one that's from Flint Township, actually. Flint Township's squad back in the day.
Okay.
So basically, the way it worked is around about the 80s, mid 80s, all of a sudden the city started taking a bit of a downturn. So we started cutting back as it happens, and so I had to do things a little bit more like on demand. So there'd be days we'd have 4 guys on a pump and 4 guys on a squad and 2 guys on a ladder. But those were rare days in the winter. Like all summer, you're running 3-man pumps, 2-man squads, or 1-man, and so it started to get worse and worse as time started to progress because when I say worse, I mean worse in the numbers on the trucks.
Right.
Before 2-in, 2-out rules came into play in particular, because, part of the story of Flint is that we went through we've been through tough times because we had all of our eggs in one basket here as a government, as a community, and that's with General Motors. So like 1998, General Motors, there's a UAW strike, and right after that, General Motors decides they're going to pull the world headquarters and stakes right the hell out of Flint, and it left us just hanging.
Oh man!
So what happens when that happens is low tax rates. Yeah, the citizens that are left, they're not necessarily the workers; they're older, and so now you got vacant houses everywhere.
Right.
And then it becomes we already had a problem with vacant house fires. Now it's just off the charts. And on top of that, they couldn't afford us anymore. So then they cut the staffing down. So to bare bones, man, bare bones.
So along with all those people who are working in General Motors, all the diners and all the people who supply food for them, they're all going to go out of business because they don't have that clientele anymore.
Right. So where the work went, the workers went, and that followed the mom and pop shops too. And if you look, malls aren't a big thing anymore, but our malls, everything around our city started to suffer, starting like 2001 after. And that's what kind of created some of the other debacles we've had in Flint that's well known.
How many firehouses are in Flint?
At its peak, there were 10. I started with 8.
Right.
Good question. I think there's 5 now. Somebody,
5?
if you're on there right now, correct me if I'm wrong. That if you're from Flint, but yes, it's a very small number. Now, when I started, there was 150 residents, 50,000, residents, 150,000 residents. Now there's probably hovering around 85,000 residents.
Yeah, somebody just
said 2020 is 81,000.
Yeah,
2020, 81. In 1980, there was 160,000. So half of the residents left.
Right. Exactly.
Rico, how was you guys were going to fires back then?
Oh my God. Yeah. So the problem with having a splinter crew like that is the whole city's going on all the same fires. So nobody's getting a break. It don't matter if you're north end, south and east or west.
Yeah, everybody's going, right?
Everybody's going. So the same 15 to 17 firefighters at one point in my career were fighting every fire that came along.
Wow.
So then we had
everybody all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. There's not even when we had 200 firefighters, we pretty much knew everyone.
Right, so all 200 guys knew that you stole that equipment back in the day.
They found out one way or another. Goddamn! If they don't now, they know now. Then
Thanks, dick.
Where is it?
You're really a firefighter.
I did. I hit it. You didn't.
You did.
Hey, guys, we had some pictures of fires there, right?
We have a couple. Yes. We have actually we have the good one. Let me pull up. Do you want to do the
good head? Pull them up.
Yeah. So this is average.
I think you got something.
At one point or another, we had a lot of fire photographers follow us around because we were catching fires all the time, and this one just happened to be rocking. We actually had a crew inside during this part when that firefight's going on, and as the guy that was found himself in some near danger was Corey Palmer, and him and another guy, they got themselves out of there, thank goodness. But it got hairy, as you can see by that smoke condition. There's guys in there. That's not looking good.
Inky abyss.
Yeah, sure.
Like velvet. What is that? Velvet?
Right.
This is gonna taste like shit.
Yeah. That's the truck I was driving at the time.
And that's Rico. That's the type of building. It's like a 1 story, 1.5.
Yeah. That's a typical house in Flint, single story. Sometimes we have some 2 stories in the older sections of the community, but most of them are single story, wooden frame. Don't have a whole lot of brick buildings here, like not house structures.
Anyway. What was another good one? Would you have that, Gans?
This one.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is a piece of what's an average. We had to change our tactics, and I'm sure we'll share if we get time to share one of the pictures of the guy, the battalion chief who created a policy on our behalf. When we started losing all our manpower, we started to have to fight fires differently because guys were getting hurt, man. And then when they're hurt, then we're running on real thin. It was getting worse and worse and worse. And so we decided that we had to do something about these arson fires because in the past, it was just like any other structure fire. If it's one room and contents or whatever, the shit's burning on the first floor, we're going in that fucker and we're putting it out. But it started to be where we had to wait for 2 in, 2 out. So that delays the actual firefight itself in a lot of ways. And so we started to recognize if this was a habitual vacant house or abandoned house, and we could determine off the front that no one was entrapped, then we'd let it burn to the ground. And so what we would do is we'd set up a 2.5 with a water curtain in between the houses and the adjoining structures or whatever else is around it, so we could contain it to just that one building. And by the time we were done, when we started getting good at it, there's nothing left but a foundation. And it's like urban renewal, but we don't like to call it that, of course. But it was just, safe. But I will say this: it was hard at times. We're sitting on the fucking bumper watching the house burn to the ground. Everybody said, "What the fuck would you guys do?" Right? It was bad PR. Yeah. Bad PR. But we had to do what was best for our group.
Yeah, everybody to go home, man.
Yeah, especially on some bullshit vacants. I mean, we had arsonists running all throughout our community at one point.
Yeah, especially when you've been to the same house like 5 times already.
Yeah, exactly.
That was this one. That was this one. This was his
first. This is my first Devil's Night. The firefighter in front of me is an officer. He was a newer sergeant, Rob Mata. And I used to call him the Macho Man, Rob Mata.
Macho Man, yeah.
Because he was just so fucking macho, man. He was Hispanic, and he had a beautiful smile. He always looked like, talk about suave, man. He actually was suave. Oh, yeah? Nice. He always had the ladies on his man. You know, he's that kind. He's just such a cool guy. And
he's the kind of like sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was bringing some other music back. I got it to the I'm sorry.
Yeah, bro.
But, Rob and I were on that structure, man. It's the first time that I was actually next to one of those burning the hell down like that. And I'm behind him, and I am just fucking cooking, man. I mean, cooking. Like,
on this side.
I want to get out of there, but he's standing here and he's in front of me.
And he's in front of me, right?
Yeah. So then he finally turned and said, "Man, it's fucking hot. We got to back."
If the Macho Man says it, I'm backing the fuck up. Did you say he was the officer?
Yeah, he was my officer.
What the fuck's he doing with the pipe? You should have the pipe, bro.
So our sergeants on our squads in particular, and a lot of our sergeants, if they're second on the second truck in, they may have a pipe in the end of their hand.
Really?
Yeah, it's one thing about our department, and I can proudly say that we're a jack of all trades. We do every job that there is, and it's sad that it has to be that way, but we've adapted to that's our style. So when we see others do it a different way, we're almost like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
you're like saying the same thing. We know what you're doing, but why are you doing it that way?
We say it on the show a lot, like the FDNY. We show up with like 50 guys for one building. Yeah. We kill it with man, but we can't get another guy in the room.
We beat it out. We beat it out with another guy. We can take
or me, I'm in there poking a hole going, hey, can somebody?
Anybody in here?
Whoa, anybody?
Yeah. How is it? What is Devil's Night like?
So Devil's Night, for those of you that don't understand the phenomenon, it was really originated back in the mid 80s in Detroit. Detroit was going through their own spell. Like, we're a baby Detroit, mini Detroit, however you want to put it. Basically, whatever happens to that big city is a reflection of what happens here, all the way back to the Detroit riots from '67. We had riots here in Flint shortly thereafter. So we kind of follow them in trends like that for whatever reason. But anyways, what they would do is it'd be originally, from what I understand, it was gang members that were jumping into their gangs by setting arson, showing that they're brave to set an arson fire. And so then it's just started getting out of control, and the whole city's on fire in Detroit. Well, up in Flint, we said, whoa, 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 whoa. So the following year, like 86 or 7, it became a phenomenon here. And by the time I got on the job in 92, 93, it was a big deal. Like that particular fire that you showed, I was on a squad truck that night. And the squad was going to every fire. Well, you can only go to so many fires in one night. There was actually 200 calls for fires that night, whether it be car fire, grass fire, or certainly structure fires. Well over 60 structure fires that night. So I was on a squad that in 12 hours, we were at 11 separate fires. And we're doing everything from squad work to, I mean, it was crazy. I remember when overtime had come in that night, and I said, hey, Cap, I said, you mind if I ride the squad so I can see some action tonight? He said, yeah, go ahead, Reek. The guy comes in about 20 minutes early. The call goes out for the first structure fire, and I didn't see the firehouse for like 7 hours when we were completely out of air, completely out of everything. We had to go back, and I was with some old guys who were like, no, we can't go to no more. And I was like, oh, but. And by the time it was over, I was so grateful those old guys got us a break, because by 6 a.m. I said, what in the fuck
did I do?
People, man, we
That's
were passing
crazy.
structure fires to
That's
go to
crazy.
structure fires. We had to pass them because we weren't, that wasn't our assignment. So it was crazy as hell in the beginning of Devil's Night. And slowly but surely, the department started to say, we just can't do this on our own. And they decided to have task forces on Devil's Night. So we brought in on-call or volunteer fire departments from throughout the county, and they actually worked alongside of us. So they come to our firehouse. And so if there's a fire in this station's territory, that whole crew had a whole working crew of firefighters to go to that.
They're probably happy to do that.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Oh, you talk about going and hang out in the turnout room.
Buffing out. Yeah.
They were smelling acid coming off of that gear and trying to share stories with it. But they got some great experience from us. Sometimes we didn't like the atmosphere because it's almost like a festive atmosphere. And really it's like, what the fuck, because tomorrow morning we're going to be right back at it after you guys are gone, kind of thing, because usually lasts about 3-day span where you're just constantly fighting fire.
It only actually stopped, right? When people used to start walking the streets, right? The community used to start walking the streets.
So, right, for sure. That's between the abandonment of the city and the lack of the people actually walking and taking care of their neighborhood. I mean, you go down some streets in Flint right now, you don't know where the sidewalk is because it's so overgrown. So people have to walk in the streets, and this is all a byproduct of, like I said, General Motors putting Flint putting General Motors in their only basket. So we didn't diversify our industry, which means, you know what that means. I don't have to explain. Maybe I do, because you come from a big conglomerate, but in a small city like this, it defines a city like ours. And so it fucking also define what happens after they leave.
What I wanted to ask you, Rico, how was when you got there? What was the makeup of the fire department? Is it mostly white? Is it mostly black? How was that?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. By the time I got there, it was pretty diverse. So one thing that happened in my career is I actually became a historian of the fire department, and I could date back to 1961 when Joe Davis became Flint's first black firefighter. And it was another 12 or 13 years before a group of black firefighters came in. So he went through the whole 60s and through all that strife that was going through the 60s, somewhat alone.
Wow.
In that sense, yeah. And so the first black firefighters came along in 73 as a group. They started to change the complexions, for lack of a better term, of the department. But so we had, I would say it was around 50-50, give or take, as far as races were concerned. We also had Latinx, Mexican, Hispanic. Also, we had women. So our first women came on the job in 1985. And the chief at the time was a different chief that came from Detroit. And it was his mission to bring women on the department. So when they came aboard, they were certainly met with what a lot of women met in early years of firefighting. They kind of banded together and always have stuck together, though. I don't know if you know of any groups of women that hired in early on.
Oh yeah.
And they kept that way the entire career, and I don't blame them. And I sometimes admired that. Sometimes I didn't, of course, but most times I admired that because I wish that I could have the same type of bond with a group of people that I hired in like that. But so I got into the union early on, right? I got in the Flint Firefighters Local 352, International Association of Firefighters, proud union member. My dad was a union member of the UAW. He worked for the shop. That's how we got up. Our family got up to Flint, Michigan. And so I had big dreams of grandeur because I remembered when I was a kid, I went to this big event called the Firefighters Field Day Festival, or Firefighters Festival, Firefighters Festival. And when I was a kid, all the fire trucks in town were there, and they had water ball going on, one of those types of events. And I remember sitting on the fire truck and pulling that damn American La France bell, right? And I said, man, I want to do this. So when I got on the job, we had a little bit, it was a softball tournament. There's a few activities, and I said, you know what? I think we can do this even better. Bring it back to old school. So I put together with a committee of people. Certainly wasn't me by myself. That's back when young people would say, "What do you need?" And you'd have old people, like everybody. what do you need? And you'd have a committee of people, and we'd all disseminate duties, and it'd all get done. It wasn't just solely on one person's back, right? And so we recreated the Firefighters Field Day Festival, and that's what really launched my opportunity to become vice president of our union, because they said, "Oh, this guy."
Oh, you went that far? You became vice president of the union?
Yeah. So when I say vice president of community relations, I was basically the second vice president, and my job was creating opportunities for our department to be seen in the positive public light, defend them if things weren't so positive, and certainly create opportunities for our firefighters to have activities within the community, and give us something worthwhile to live for and be a part of.
Show some of those pictures of the PR pictures there, right?
Okay. Boom.
Yeah. So now one of the people that intrigued me when I was a young firefighter, I was in the junior fire department program in my school in Flint, and these firefighters would come out, and you guys you could probably believe this now that you know how fanatic I was, but you had to take a test, and basically each week you brought home this little diagram to go over hazards in your house with your parents, and then take a little test over what they talked about. So each week I aced the test, had everything, and I get promoted. So I got promoted all the way to fire marshal, right? Which didn't surprise many people that watched me actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about at 10 years old as a fire marshal of this little group. So when I got in the department, I had an opportunity to teach fire safety. And I was nervous as hell, man. I didn't have kids or anything. I didn't know what to say to kids. And this firefighter that actually taught me fire safety in that class pulled me in his office, and he gave me some tips. And he said, this is going to be the most important part of your career.
Yeah, man.
Learn how to do this. And so it actually became a niche. Anybody that knows me personally knows that I didn't just teach fire safety. I taught fire safety. It was the biggest probably part of my career, is being able to connect with our community and kids and adults, everybody. But it all came because of those guys inspired me. And I gotta tell you guys this, because it's important for those that are listening right now, young firefighters in particular. I'm going to leave some things, some words of wisdom in the past, or at the end rather, excuse me. But I think now that we're talking about fire prevention, so I was a young firefighter, and I was, as you young firefighters do, you're ready for the next one, man. You can't wait to prove how tough you are and how you can do this job. And me as a skinny fucker, that's all I was worried about. On these guys, I could actually do it and proving it. And so one night I said to a senior guy, I said, "Man, I hope we catch a hot one tonight, man. I'm ready." He said, "What?" I said, "Man, I'm ready. I hope we catch a hot one tonight. I'm ready." And he said, "What did you just say?" And I told him again, and I'm like, "What the fuck did I stutter?" He said, "So let me get this right, Rico. You're hoping and wishing for someone to have the worst night of their fucking life.
You say that all the time.
So you can prove to us how tough you are?" He said, "You're not fucking tough." And I was like, damn. So between that and the opportunity to teach fire safety, and the fact that I seen that smoke detector hanging with those three factors, said this has got to be part of my career. This is more important than me responding to the emergencies. And so that's the way I looked at it.
We used to say that all the time. I hope we go to work tonight, but you don't realize what people lose. I mean, if they don't lose a life, if they don't lose a loved one, they lose all their personal belongings, probably. Right. Either it's from the fire, the smoke damage, or the water.
We're not talking about couches. We're talking about their grandmother's pictures. We're talking about irreplaceable stuff.
Irreplaceable stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And I figured it out not long after that. When I would leave fires, you guys, I still didn't feel good. It's not like I felt better about putting the fire out, especially at Occupied. Bacon, I could give a fuck less, but Occupied, I always felt like, damn, that sucks, man. It never felt right, no matter if they lost a life or not. It's just how it goes. But
getting back to what you said, right? You can't stop, you can't change any of that stuff. I mean, you hope to change it, but it's going to happen, and you do the best you can do at those things. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. So.
For sure.
That's what I used to tell the young guys. They say, "I hope I go to work tonight." I'm like, how about we hope if we do get called to work, we just do a good job, man. Everybody go home all right. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's probably a better way, young guys. I hope we do a good job tonight if we get called.
Yeah.
You don't have to wish on a fire.
It's gonna happen. They're gonna come either way, right?
You know? Right.
Yep. So 2001, you get promoted to apparatus operator, which I guess.
So it'd be like your chauffeur, or Jack can call us first drivers, but we got a little promotion. So that's how they gave us our promotion by calling us apparatus operator. But yeah, that's kind of young in a firefighter's career, to be honest with you. I had about 10 years on, and because everything had changed so quickly, it put people like myself out of the back seat and into the front seat. I really wanted to be a driver my whole career, to be honest with you. I used to, watch the guys go on the street. I ended up buying my own fire truck that you'll see here a little bit.
What?
Yeah, I bought my own fucking fire truck. You talk about, you guys are probably looking like, this guy is a geek firefighter.
We've had a few of them that bought their own truck.
We've got a couple of them.
Yeah, there you are.
Dude, look at that truck he's got too.
I bought that from the City of Flint, man.
Where do you keep it?
Well, I don't own it anymore, but so when I was a kid, that used to work in my neighborhood. It had a different number on it. It was Aerial 15 at the time. And so I used to see it go by, and I knew the sound of the American LaFrancis when they come down the front.
Don't you know those distinct sounds? Those
yeah,
trucks,
so I'd always know it. And my friends at the back of the time would say, "Man, you're crazy, man. There was no fire truck coming." And then there, one of them would go by. So when I got a chance to buy this, I actually bought it from auction from the city for $1,000, you guys.
Wow.
I couldn't believe I owned it. And so when I was like, what am I going to do with this truck? And so that fire station, you see it leaned up against there, this old Station 2, it had been a decommissioned station, and a private owner owned it. He was a police officer. And I'm looking for this guy, and I didn't know he was looking for me. I was looking for him because I needed a place to park the truck. He's looking for me because he needs someone to help put those storms up on that window right there. He said, "What will you charge me?" When he found me, and I said, "How about storage in the station for the winter?" And he said, "All right." So, quick story about that particular fire truck. When it was first commissioned, it was commissioned in that old firehouse right there.
Wow.
From 1922. It's a 1968 American LaFrance, and so that's where it actually got its birth with the City of Flint, back when we had yellow rigs, of course. And so it was so cool to back it in that old firehouse, man. It's kind of creepy too, because it's an old firehouse. But
what did that guy do with that building, Rico?
It still sits there. He sold it to a family member, and they're sitting idle. He had talked about putting a restaurant in it, but ultimately, when I walked in that building, you guys, and I seen the wooden ceiling in that building, all the woodworking from the 1926 structure, that is, or 27, no, 26. Anyways, it's all woodworking. I said, "Holy shit, I could feel history in the building." And so I said, "Hey, what do you think about if I start a museum here?" And he liked the idea. So I launched the Flint Firefighters Historical Society in 2003, 2004, something like that, with being that I had that truck. And I really went hard for it. I got a nonprofit organization started.
Is this the firehouse?
That's the firehouse right there.
Yeah. Wow, an amazing building.
Yeah.
You did it, man. You
did
it.
Yeah. So the thing of it was, though, is I had way more interest than time, and I had way more interest than other people had interest. So I had to actually squash the whole plan, man. I had to come to terms with that. I wasn't going to be able to do it. And I ended up squashing the whole thing. And it was sad in one sense, but I got so involved with hockey that I was like, I can't do everything in this world, man. And my son started playing hockey, so I started switching gears and shit like that.
That's an amazing building, bro. I would love to make my house.
What'd you do? End up doing with the rig?
So I sold it, you guys, and I say it like that because I didn't want to sell it, because there it is. Yeah, I did not want to sell that truck because it had so much sentimental value, not only to me, but so many retirees that when I see them and I'd have the truck, they'd be just giving me a hug and wanting to sit in the rig and shit. Because I used to take it to shows, for lack of a better term. I can't think of what they're called all of a sudden, but for fire trucks, right? Musters. Thank you. I used to take to them. We have a big muster here north of us, and so I bring it up there, and of course having a Flint rig up there was special within itself, because they know that. Like I had a guy, I said, "Man, I need to really do some work on it." And they said, "Man, them bumps and bruises means it actually did some work in Flint." Fuck yeah, leave it. Yeah. So I left it, and so when I sold it, I was like, "Man, I'm gonna put it on eBay, and hopefully some fucker in Ohio buys it, and I never have to hear about it again." And so it sold, and I started looking the guy up, and he's from Clio, and I said, "Oh shit, Clio's just a community north of me here." I said, "Ah shit." So when we got together and I talked to him, he's a firefighter for Clio Fire Department, and nicest guy. Him and his wife came in and we talked, and I told him the value of this truck was way more than any amount of money. That's him right there.
Wow.
And he worth the money that's the day I sold it to him too. He said, I'll take good care of it. I promise you, Rico. And he continues. His wife sends me pictures all the time with his kids on it, like my kids used to sit on it and shit like that. But I used to take it to parades and just do fun stuff. My kids were getting older, so their friends would ride with me on parades, and it was just fun to have. And I also take it to schools when I was teaching fire safety.
Listen, you're passing it on, right? It could have been
Yeah,
in the
for sure.
you know what I mean? It's,
For sure. I felt
same.
good about where it's at. I really do.
Yeah.
Look at the flashlight, and then you're on the top of it. There.
Yeah. I had a lot of original stuff. Of course, being a quartermaster didn't hurt. But anyways.
I know that feeling, baby.
Yeah, for sure.
allegedly could have happened.
Yeah. Nothing in writing. But anyways, so my role with the union, though, that is really what took me to a whole different level in my career. Like, I didn't really foresee it, but I knew that what was important to me was that nobody realized what us firefighters did other than put fires out. So they seen us at crisis only. And I knew about fill the boot, and I could go down all the list of plethora of things that we do outside of our job to help our community. And so I began to make it my point to, when I got the role with the union, to put us in front of our local news media. And we have 3 stations here locally, which is not that typical for a city our size and our area. So we basically have their attention in almost anything we were doing. And I just started saying, hey, we're doing this. And I'd be there. Hi, I'm Rico Phillips. I'm a firefighter.
Hey, I'm Rico Phillips.
Yeah. If you see my
the first time I
interviews,
spoke to him, I'm like, I'm not sure if you've talked that, and he's like, dude, that's all I did. Like,
But let's Rico Suave.
Yeah, I'm sure people on this are going, oh, this fucker here. But anyway, so I started off that way. It wasn't something I actually planned. I had a communications class in high school, and that's really my only experience with it. But I had this passion for what we do, and it just started to sing through. And what I did, it seems probably egotistical, but I would videotape every interview, and not to say, oh, look at me on TV, but to actually study my mannerisms, how news worked. I study news so that when it was my turn, I wouldn't feel so nervous and anxious. I would select my words. I actually read books about it. And then I became friends with the local beat reporters, and we go to lunch. And so when I interviewed with them, they were like interviewing my friends. So it wasn't so
right.
More
comfortable.
And so that's my first TV.
Dude, it's the 90s. Check out that flat top,
going, bro.
Little fade.
So hey, listen, I showed up late for the fucking interview. So I show up, and the journalist that I'm working with, she knows I'm nervous as hell because I asked for something to drink before I even sat down. So they're like, whoa, okay, this guy needs to. So anyway, she starts interviewing me. She knows I'm nervous. So instead of just let me, like I'm doing now, telling you stories, she's like, so at the firefighters field day, you're going to have softball and you're going to do this. And I would just say, exactly. Well, I got back from vacation after this aired. I didn't see it live. And on my answer machine, that's all long ago it was, one of the battalions on it. Hey, exactly. What do you know exactly about it? And he's saying all these exactly. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with him? So I'm nervous. I pop the tape in. I watch it. I said the word exactly 19 times in 12 minutes.
Nice.
That was my buzzword. Exactly. Now to this day, when interviewing, I won't say exactly. Absolutely.
Scarred you for life. That's
exactly. Hey, Roof, he's been analyzing our skills the whole time, bro. He's like, these 2 fucking guys.
We haven't read a book ever.
I never read a book.
So I got to tell you guys, I had an incredible career. Speaking to all those folks and really making the most of my career, whether it be going to the scenes or whatever. But one of the things that was a byproduct of being out in front like that, and kind of before you know it, I started getting to this groundswell of, hey, I got to get us on all the time. I'm representing our department, but in the same token, it's me being in front. And so slowly but surely, I started getting put up on a pedestal I wasn't really looking for or asking for. And the problem with that becomes envy, and people want to knock you off your pedestal. So that's the reality of it. So at times I suffered through my career with people not, not understanding me, understanding where I was coming from, thinking it was all about my ego, which you have to have some ego in order to step up in front of people, but it was never about that. And it was hard to explain to some, but I didn't have a bad career because of that. It's just one of those challenges, like you say, you had to put in.
Listen, once you do that, when you're, listen, people are going to agree with you, even what we're doing. People agree with us. People, we go to shows, people disagree, listen, you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? It's, it doesn't change what we're doing. It doesn't change what you did, how you felt, what your drive was. And, that's why it's your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. You said that right. Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah. But before you guys go off, can we talk about this?
Oh,
what?
Where's Coobs? Coobs has got to be in there.
Yeah, I think it's Coobs in there.
Holy. Now, So one of my roles in the fire department was to we produced a calendar as a fundraiser. It is a beefcake calendar, clearly. And these are our specimens at the time. I think this is 93 or 4, maybe 5. I can't remember. But I can remember that we had to get all the guys on the calendar that were in this calendar. Everybody had to get new helmets. So their fucking heads swole up so big their helmets were splitting off.
Why is that one guy got the helmet over his junk? Look at
I hope he's watching right now. Colonna, Kiwi, you watching this, man? Then why is your helmet over your junk? Tell me he's watching tonight. He's
hanging it from it right now.
He's one of the guys I love.
He's hanging it from
it up right now. Just make it look like it's his hands.
Kiwi,
it's always the pike axe too. The guys are holding, right?
What's he doing with that? I never even really looked at it that hard. Now I'm not.
So even how they hold it, it's like so like fake, It's
it's so fake.
Oh shit!
Well, that's not fake, bro. Little piece of shot right there. Hey, ain't
I gotta live this down now. So the one on the left has got a really unique story to it. So.
We show some ass, right?
Of course
yeah, sure.
That was hanging in the bathroom at a bar somewhere. And,
you put these fucking things on, you got to be a part of it, right? You can't.
Yeah, for sure.
So we decided that year we were going to make authentic pictures. So we're going to burned out structures and shit like that. And so we're at a burned out house there, and it's actually pretty goddamn cold out. And I'm not a big guy, as you can tell. I'm not pretty fond of my chest, and so. I was trying to make sure I got a good shot there from,
you got to get the try going.
Right. And so I go up the ladder, and this photographer, he's actually from New York. He says, "Hey, man," he said, "I see your boxers. Come on down here and hike those down." So I come down the ladder and I hike them down, and I go back up the ladder. Well, I forgot to put my suspenders up. It's really what happened, man. So I'm taking a picture. I'm looking all serious, and the guys are fucking. They're just on the floor, on the ground. I'm like pissed. Like, what the heck? You see that look on my face right there? I'm like, what the fuck are you guys laughing about?
Oh shit!
And so then I come down, and they're like, "Hey, man, is it cold back there?" And I looked. I said, "Holy shit!" I said, "You can't shoot them." And so he's like, "Man, those are crap."
Listen, that's great, man. The girls are gonna love that shit.
Yeah. So I go back up there. With the shoulder, with them up on my shoulders, and I look at the proofs later. My wife said, "No, you got to go with the ones with your ass hanging out."
Listen, you want to sell beefcake stuff, man.
Right?
Well,
that isn't even a whole beef, is it?
They want the little.
The only thing I'm confused about is that you were looking for authentic pictures. I don't know.
That doesn't happen all around the country, Coop.
I don't know how that's how they roll in Flint, bro. They put that.
Oh no!
little tush showing. You know what I mean? You got a little tush showing.
Little tuckus.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. It takes balls to send us that picture for us.
There you go. Good for you, bro.
Credit for that.
You got to be laughing at yourself. You're going to laugh at everybody else, right?
What do y'all? You got some more in there, guys? Give me some. I need some more of those, bro. Give me something else.
Those are the only two.
Before you know, you won't be able to see Rico. It'd be as red as this. You're like, oh,
no. Bullshit. You're loving every minute of it.
Well, hold on. We got a couple of group shots too, Gons.
Yes. I was going to go over
what? Do we all have no shirt on?
No.
That was the first one. All right. We'll go back a little bit while you're doing the PR thing. So with your high school.
Yeah,
group.
so this is one of our each year during Fire Prevention Week, we decided to take it to another level, and we wanted to make sure we introduce our what we do for a living to kids that really haven't even, we can go in their classroom, tell them what it's like, but we want to give them a lived experience. So these kids that are in the turnout gear are actually high school students, and we're on duty, and we put them through a day on the job, and it's one of our. It's just such a cool thing to watch these young people really get an idea of what we do, pulling holes off of, and then we're obviously hoping that these young people follow in our footsteps. So,
I was going to ask you, Rico, do you find that once you start like the ball rolling a little bit, like you start getting like the tradition with the kids following in the footsteps? Is that happening over there? Like in the FDNY, that happens a lot.
Well, it doesn't happen as much as it should, and I tell you, probably one of the biggest reasons why is. Unfortunately, the kids here are products of their environment in a lot of ways. So what I mean by that is, to give you an example, I'll go out in my career, I've gone out to schools, not just in the city of Flint, but throughout our entire county. And when I'm out in the county, it's a dual thing. Obviously, it's to talk about my career, my role, and what we do, and try to introduce people to it. But it's also to be quite honest with you, to give a reflection of a positive Black person that they can look up to and say, oh no, Flint has.
And you came out of Flint, right?
Yeah. Flint's such this spot that they only see on the news and the negativity and all this, that I want to make sure that I put Flint's best foot forward when I went out there. But in those processes, I'll ask students, what my goals were. I'd like to know what yours are. Do you have any? And categorically, when I'm in the suburbs, 90% of those students could tell me something. Categorically in the Flint schools, 10% could tell me something. And it was really a travesty to me. And so what you're seeing is a level of hopelessness. So they don't, when they look out, and I say they're a product of their environment, when they look out and they see vacant structures, and they look out and they see a decaying city and school
crime and shit.
Yeah, all this stuff. That's all they understand and know. And so only a few of them get plucked into the situation where they say, hey, this is your opportunity. This is a way out. And so we keep trying to provide those opportunities through the program like that. But, the reality is that we get a handful that follow in our footsteps, but it should be much more. And it's something that, we need to continue to work on, obviously.
Let's go back to that picture. Two things I want to point out. Look at the guy over on the right. Look at the size of that fucking guy's foot. What is this? It looks like a violin case. What is that? And the other thing is, who let that white guy creep into the picture? Where did he come from?
Man. God love Mike Cochran. He's still on the department, 30-some years, the big guy there.
Yeah.
He's a fire
marshal.
marshal.
Oh, shit,
he's a fire marshal. He's up in the Marshal's Bureau.
Yeah. Then he realized, he's like, oh, shit, I must be in the wrong picture here. What the fuck's your...
Hey, man, we gotta.
Do you ever have any of those guys that for sure got any of those kids that came through that program that got on the job?
Not to my knowledge, not in recent years. I think there may have been one or two, but to my knowledge, no.
It's just so tough, right? Because you don't have that many guys on the job, so it's
right.
Just
well, we don't have a lot of what places like FDNY have is nepotism. We don't have virtually any of that. We had some back when I hired in. There was a couple guys whose dads were on the department the next class or two after, but now that's all changed. And I think a lot of it has to do with how our pay has been stripped down to bare minimum. Our benefits so nobody wants it. This is a job now. It's not a career. It's a fucking job and not a career. So young families, young men aren't going to leave their good paying job to take a pay cut to wait 5 to 7 years to get full pay, and so as a result of that, you're getting huge turnover. You're not getting folks that, our kids aren't being said, hey, you come follow me at Flint Fire Department. And the ones that do, they only stay there for a cup of coffee and they say, oh, I can do better than this.
Right.
Somebody
hear that
put up there, Rico, that you guys were making $6.95 an hour when you started.
Yes, I was making $6.99. So what was really crazy up until, and when I made it to the station, I got a boost to $8.90 an hour, and that's 93, right after the academy. Just a few years ago, they were making just under $10 an hour in the Flint Fire Department. Since I've retired. It's like 2019, 2020.
Oh my God!
Verify that if you're on this call, someone please. I mean, on this
Let me see
on
if I
this
can. Someone
podcast.
will probably get to it before I do it.
Yeah, because it is. It was shocking to me.
Jerry
The pay
Hunt
has
said
gone
it was
backwards.
$7.87 an hour when he started in 2000.
787.
Bro, McDonald's, they're making $15 an hour, for God's sake.
Right. So it gives you a good idea what the issues are with Flint Fire Department. It's hard to keep folks for
that's
long periods
crazy.
of time, and those that stay get completely burned out by the end of their career. There's a few of us that stay because we love what we do and where we do it, and that's why we're there. But it's
52. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's
okay.
according to what I'm looking at right here, as of February 12th, 2024, the average annual pay for a firefighter in Flint is $52,000, $52,889 a year.
Now, I will say this: cost of living in the Flint region is lower than other areas of the country, so that's to be considered relative.
Yeah, but still, man.
It's not a working wage, career wage.
Rico, we hear that. We hear that not so much on the show. I mean, we do a little bit, but when we go out to shows like the fire expos, like you were saying, Mustard, whatever, guys come up to us from St. Louis, places like you would think have, guys were making more money.
Yeah.
Similar to what, $50,000, how you have 2-3 kids,
right.
I don't care where you're living.
Got that in his sock, for Christ's sake.
I don't care where you're living.
Hey guys, and I'm not rubbing this any wrong way to the guys that are working right now, but I have a retirement job. I'm making $45,000 for, and I have way less responsibility. So,
and you're not running into burning buildings.
Fuck no. I got different kind of dumpster fires. Different dumpster fires, though. That's all.
Now he's breaking up fights.
Yeah.
Well, we're
gonna get there. We're almost there. We'll get into the hockey stuff. Hold on.
Don't worry.
Let's get to the quartermaster first, because that's his next stop. The quartermaster.
Yeah. So that opportunity actually saved my career for another 5 years, because at the time, my department took another severe cut, and those drivers that are driving the truck to the scene, instead of setting up and helping the first truck on, now they're suiting up and going in. And I'm like, man, I've been doing this too long. I'm almost 50 at the time, or it's about 45, but I wasn't feeling it anymore. I didn't trust the structure of the department, so to speak, on a number of levels. But so the opportunity kind of presented itself. This quartermaster was there, wanted to make a change, and I was surprised. It blew me out of and I was in the fire prevention provisionally, and it opened up as a 40-hour job, which I was like, ooh, that I had to get used to going to the grocery store after work, which was what the hell? Where these people come from?
There ain't nobody here at 10 o'clock. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So anyways, I I got into fire or quartermaster, and I really found I found a little niche. I didn't think I would, because I was down in the basement. I was like a troll under the station right at first. And I told Chief I did not want to be no troll down there. So don't be mad if I show up to fire scenes and shit and just support. I'm not going to go tank up and go on, because quartermaster, when it was first formed, was formed for a guy that had congestive heart failure, and gave him an opportunity. We had enough manpower then. The assistant chief was doing that work at the time. So that's how the job started. Then the next person had asthma, and she held it for like 19 years. And the next person, he didn't have the best health at the time, took the opportunity. For me, I was healthy. And I was like, Chief, I'm not here because I'm not healthy, man. I just here because I want to extend and plus I got a pay raise as a lieutenant's pay. It's like the last rung that I could make. And so for those 5 years, though, I really took what I did serious. Like, I knew I was there to serve the firefighters, and it was the first time I was kind of in that role, but I took it to heart. Like, I know what it's like to be them and have wants and needs and want the best equipment, even though we can't afford it. I'm going to do my best, and yeah, I turn into the jerk once in a while too, because quartermasters tend to do that, act like it's their shit. But when you see people wasting, you go, what the
I did that. I was in the tour for my last year. Guys like, you ain't getting those.
Yeah.
You can have those over there, but you ain't getting those.
Exactly.
Wait, was it the place that you went in and stole all that equipment?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you. It's a full circle.
Like a circle.
Yeah, so I go in there once in a while and just kind of shake my head and look around at that shit, because some of it's the same shit that was there back in
I should have stole that shit then.
I'm serious. Pants and shit still in there from '83. But anyway,
I love it.
It was a full circle moment for me. It was kind of really ironic. I was the quartermaster after the way I started my spot there. Because, yeah, like you say, allegedly.
Tony Hernandez says you were a great quartermaster.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that when he first started in. So I took this role on responsibility. Like when the guys first come in, now I'm going to play Uncle Rico to you. I'm going to pull you aside because I'm giving you a fit test on your mask or whatever. I got just you and me, and I get a chance to tell them what it's really all about. If you're sensitive about somebody screaming at you or cussing at you, you're going to have to understand that you got to adapt to that, because next time it may be a fucking ceiling calming down. He's fucking calling you because screaming at you, because then instead of saying, "What are you screaming at me?" And then all of a sudden the shit's on your head, right? Understand those kind of things and just kind of keep your mouth shut, keep your nose down, do your job, prove by actions, those kind of things. And he was one of those guys that I know I spoke with. And now he's at another department. He's one of those, what I consider a casualty of the department, because he's a good firefighter, a good man, good family man now. And now he's not there to help keep that fire department going in the right direction. Not that
retention's a tough thing then, huh? Keeping those guys?
Yeah. It was very bad over the last several years. I can't tell those stories because I left at a very critical time, at probably the best time I could have. It was going downhill quick. It's better now. They have
They
have a chief there who was a chief before. Me and him used to battle when I was a vice president. Right. Some of the guys didn't like me because I'd battle the mayor, and I was a black guy battling a black mayor, and they would wonder about me. But I was battling for our guys, residency rules and shit like that. And this chief, he didn't like me because he said some disparaging comments once, and they all came out, and it was all it got crazy, put it that way.
Right.
But he's come back, and now that he's come back, and there's none of those old hats there. There's no vendettas. He's got a different outlook. He's older. He's letting his guys and gals run the fire department the way it should be ran. And they're getting new equipment, and they're working with their ARPA funds and things. They have brand new trucks. The whole city does.
That's good.
So yeah, it doesn't look like it did when I left. It looks better than when I left. But a couple years after I left, it was, whoa. They can tell you.
Rico, Gonzo, there was a picture of Rico was talking about the picture where the chief had his arms, or the guy had his arms around the two people there. Oh, that was a good picture.
That one. That's its old Station 3. It's an old crew there, older crew, should I say, and a young rookie, Jason. He's a veteran, and he's like, he can't even believe he's a veteran there.
Wow.
The rest of us are all in that picture retired.
Yeah,
that's when I was a driver.
You're not talking about this one, are you?
No.
That's
your Red Cross award.
Yeah.
The other couple of group shots that I have is this one.
Oh, there we go. There's after a working structure fire, one of my favorite crews of all time I worked with, and catching poles. It was kind of hard to find pictures of fires and shit. We don't typically stand around a pose like this for fires, man. It started to become the era where you catch a camera phone unseen, and the guy in the center there with this holding a pike pole down, I think that's what it is. His name is Andy Graves. He's a battalion chief. I think he may have gotten higher than that. I can't remember, but regardless, he's the author of the Let It Burn policy that helped not just our department, but it also started being viewed by other departments in our size group of better ways to combat these fires and not get our firefighters hurt. So yeah, he's that guy.
Okay.
Did you find the one, Gun?
No, because the only other group shot I have was this one. That one.
Yeah, so that's one of the last crews I worked with after I got promoted. And God rest his soul, Ricky Hill is in that picture. He's the guy with his arm around a couple guys. And in fact, every picture I've found with this guy, he has his arm around somebody else. That's
really?
He was, yeah. And he died, unfortunately, last year suddenly at a fire scene. He suffered a cardiac episode of some level, and the guy right next to him, that would be to his left, our right, Brad Ortwine, who's probably on this call, get a little emotional. He was actually a person who started giving him rescue breaths and he's the first person that found him, opened the door, and Ricky fell out, and he had to catch him, and it was very, very troubling time for us. Even me being retired, it hit me hard, and being on the outside for the first time, looking in on a situation like that, not being able to give comfort the way I felt like I always had in the past was really tough on me because I was part of critical incident stress management teams for a majority of my career as well.
Yesterday was a year ago.
Give back to the department, huh, fella?
Yeah. 1 year anniversary of losing Ricky was yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, brother.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the hockey career, because I know Roofy's a little anxious on the hockey career. So.
All right, let's talk about it. Now I'm ready to
Nobody
kick the jersey
cares
off.
about
I'm hot now.
everyone.
All right, show's over. So you guys can.
All right, get out, everybody. Stay low and go.
So I'll tell you how I got into hockey. I told you actually. I became a student trainer. Well, I followed my love in the sport as a referee, and when I was a referee first, though, I hadn't learned how to stop yet, you guys. So it was fucking a mess. I was falling down more than the players, man. Back in 1986 is when I first started.
Swallowed more whistles than you could.
Yeah.
What he's saying right here is help.
Oh, there he is down again.
Hold me the fuck up, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. So, but it was a couple of things that I took note of early on. I was a unicorn in the sport. There was no other no black people played sport in our area. And the guys that I played hockey with in high school, when they come to the rink, they talk differently, right? They use the N-word and they'd use terms like, just talking some silly shit that they never would at school. That's what always threw me off. Yeah, serious.
Why is that?
I don't understand it either. It was the culture of hockey is what it was, right?
I knew I didn't like hockey, Roofy.
Yeah. So it was at the time too. It was 86.
I was going to say that's the time.
Yeah, it was 86. So it was a different time. But the second month in as a referee, I had a coach call me over because I blew a call, and his assistant called me the N-bomb and told me he's going to kick my ass in the parking lot. And I was like beside myself, like, what the hell did I get myself into? And I was quitting hockey that day. It was my last day of hockey because I had seen and heard enough. And my senior partner told me, he says, Rico, he said, don't do it, man. He knew I was throwing my shit in the bag for the last time. He says, you're going to run across racist people in your life, and it's how you deal with those racists and the outcome that you want is how you're going to live. He said, if you leave right now, he's doing exactly what he set out to do, and that's chase you out of here. So 37 seasons later, I'm still refereeing hockey, right? And I can stop now, God damn it. Yeah. So I've had some incredible experiences. But one of the things I noted all those years, I was refereeing the entire time I was on the department, was playing the entire time I was in the department, is my get out my anxieties and all the other things that it provided for me. I could release there, and I was in a different environment. I wasn't necessarily with my firefighting friends. I was with this whole different group of folks. But one thing I noticed as a referee in particular, not as a player so much, but is that the kids were all the same. They look the same. They come from the same backgrounds. They're all cookie cutter white kids from the suburbs. And I decided that I was going to launch a program to introduce kids from our city to our sport that looked like me, came from backgrounds like I am in, and other kids along our city. So we started the Flint Intercity Youth Hockey Program, and we have kids between the ages of 7 and 12 that get an opportunity at it absolutely free. What I never realized is that this was actually my second passion in life that came on the heels of wanting to be a firefighter. So through that program, we started to get some groundwork in. And the one thing that we had to struggle with is getting kids. There's such a disconnect between our sport and our community, even though we've had semi-pro teams. Now we have an Ontario Hockey League team here. They don't play the sport whatsoever. And so
why is that, Rico? Why?
I really believe that they can't see themselves in the sport. Right. So if they don't have anybody to icon, to look up to say, oh, I know that player, someone that plays it, there's no connection. So even when I come in, I'm like the Pied Piper, right? Like, what's he got? He's got a puck. Oh my gosh. I've never seen a puck. It's like I got gold. Serious. This really is.
Do you think too that possibly could be like, listen, if they get a basketball, 10 of them go down to the schoolyard and play. Mm-hmm. But to play hockey, you got to get time on the ice. You got to get skates. You got to get a puck.
It's definitely expense. I would think initially.
It's more expensive, right, for a kid living in the inner city.
But maybe not.
So what we're looking at. So what I've had to do is define hockey differently, like from its more organic form on our feet. First time I ever played hockey was floor hockey in school in the gym, right? And so if we can take them and put them on their feet at the same court that they play basketball with a stick in their hand now and a puck or a hockey ball. And now they get comfortable. Now we can say, hey, you know what? I bet you would look good on skates.
Right.
Huh? And then you start teach them how to skate. At first, they're like, shit. And then you taught them this skill that nobody can ever take from them, like riding a bike, right? So no matter if they stay in the sport or not, they got a recreation in the winter in Michigan, where one of the biggest recreations is ice skating, right? So I started that program for that. Initially, I thought, oh, I'm going to get more hockey players. But then I realized that's not going to happen in Flint, Michigan. I'm going to give them an experience. A handful may stay with the sport because they have the structure, the parent structure.
Right. They got to be driven around. Think about, you got to be driven to the games, right? Or
Right.
It's a big
got
effort.
Five siblings, one of them's not playing hockey, right? It's not going to work, right? It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
And then again, the representation, so they don't see themselves. That was fun. But we have, over the last 9 years straight, we have 16 kids that have gone on to play organized hockey. I have one in college, one that's about to attend college.
Wow.
So we're doing okay with our numbers. I'm so proud of it. But back in 2019, this is how I got into a whole different realm of the world.
Dude, this is incredible.
I was trying to figure out how can I get attention to our story. And I don't mean just running a media story that we have this program. I wanted to get the attention of the Black people in our community. And one way to do that is through history. And so I decided that Willie O'Ree is credited as being the first Black hockey player in the National Hockey League when he suited up for the Boston Bruins in 1958, everyone. 58 in Boston.
Oh,
Only Black guy in all of hockey, right? Professional hockey. And he has incredible stories. I won't go into his stories, but I wanted to see if Willie O'Ree would come to Flint. We're on the heels of the water crisis, which we may not get to tonight, but on the heels of the water crisis. And
wow. I wonder what the ice would look like.
It was harder than normal. I put it that. But anyways, so I invited Willie O'Ree to Flint. He was interested in coming to Flint because it was Flint. That's what I'm talking about. There was a silver lining to the fact that this had happened to our community. Others were taking notice of us. He comes to Flint. He witnesses our program. He's the ambassador for National Hockey League's Hockey is for Everyone program. So there's programs like ours. There's a big one in New York. Ice hockey in Harlem is a big program in New York. New Jersey has one. New Jersey ice hockey. They're very similar in the way, the structure, and what they're trying to promote and give to kids that don't typically play our sport. And so he comes to Flint. I can't believe it. Before he leaves, he explains to my wife, there's an award that's named after me. I want you to nominate him. And she's like, what are you talking? So she looks it up the next day on the computer. She said, oh my gosh, this does sound like Rico. And she's like, I gotta get somebody to nominate him. And then she realizes that the nomination is closed in 3 hours. Like, who the hell am I going to get to write something? So she goes on a whim. She doesn't consider herself a writer, and she writes this nomination. I get nominated, become a finalist. When I became a finalist, I, along with 2 other people in our country that do something very similar, creating opportunities through the sport of hockey to better our communities is what the award is about. We became finalists, and the way that you became the winner is to fan voting. So they did a little piece, and then the fan voting went through the internet, of course, and I pushed send once on that, and it blew up. And I'm going to tell you guys, it wasn't just the hockey community. It was my firefighting community. It's my community at large, because all the things that I was able to present in the best of light on behalf of our department and myself, that paid off dividends. So quick side note, when I had won the award, I was fortunate enough to win the award. I was invited to Las Vegas, everybody, to the NHL awards. So I'm there with 10,000 people in the audience, the top players in the NHL, and my little lame ass from Flint, Michigan, who was a student trainer. And I'm like, how the hell did I get here, you guys? So
it's
I'm
like
standing
a dream,
there.
right? It's
a dream. It was nuts. It was nuts, you guys. So, and I'm nervous the whole night. In fact, at one point in the night, Keenan Thompson was the MC of the night, and they do a little skit and they say, "We need 10,000 hamburgers for his, that skit of the show they used to do back in the day." And I'm like, 10,000 hamburgers? He said, "Yeah, there's 10,000 people." And I said, "Holy shit, man!" I said, 10,000 people. I told my wife, I said, "I don't even want to win." And she says, "Rico," I said, I know there's people going to be disappointed. I mean, there was watch parties in Flint. There was all the guys at the firehouse were watching, all people all across our country, millions of people watching the show itself. And I'm sitting here, and it's the last award of the night. Wow. After you're done watching this show, everyone, look up Rico Phillips NHL Awards, and you'll get a chance to watch this unfold. And so we waited all night. And after I seen, so the story that they ran a different story for each of us to tell our story. And the story, I gave them like 3 or 4 different angles. And then one they pulled up, the water tower. I said, "Oh shit," because I'm really nervous about portraying our community in a proper light. We're not a bunch of poor people from Flint that, we're resilient here. And I get nervous that people don't look us that way. And so I don't want to portray that. So anyways, here it comes. I'm like, "Oh shit." And it turned out to be this incredibly cool story. So then I'm like, "Oh shit, I might have won this."
I'd give it to me.
Yeah. I started chewing gum. I had to take a piss so bad, you guys. I can't get up. Commercial came.
That's
and I
like Coob. Yeah.
I'm like, shit. And I started chewing gum. And then I was like, my wife said, "Just relax." I said, okay. And then the moment of truth come, which is what you'll see. And my name was called, and I had an out-of-body experience. And I went up there, you guys, and I got to tell you this so it'll make you want to watch it, right? So as I hug my wife, and she says, "You got this, Rico." I said, "Thank you." And I shake the other guy's hand from Detroit, and who was also a finalist. And the other lady was a finalist from Baltimore. And then that's when I realized, holy shit, I got to go up here now. Right. Like the reality was sinking in quick because this guy on this remote camera was right here. Like, I'm right here. I'm like, "Oh, shit."
I'm gonna Ed Norton.
And gotta look cool now. I gotta look cool like you've been here before. So I'm walking, and I won't look at the front row because front row there's got to be some. I end up going, if you're a hockey
Sidney
guy.
Crosby,
Conor McDavid was on the front corner.
Oh my God!
I did not see him because I didn't look at him. All right. So I turned the corner, and earlier in that day, they kind of gave us a little run through how it would work. But when that night came, all the award winners were going up this main staircase to get the award. Well, the staircase that I was supposed to go on that they told us about was way over there. And I'm thinking, they must have fucked that up. I'm going up this big staircase. I turn left like I'm somebody, you guys. I start going up the staircase. And about the third step, man, my coach says, "Oh, no, this ain't going to just be easy like that, Rico." Drag my toe, and I about bit it, man. I was going down.
Oh, I gotta watch this.
Down goes Frazier.
God, man. Oh my, it's slow motion. And I get up there, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, can you guys believe I just almost bit it?" I caught myself. Thank God I caught myself. Everybody in the world's going, "Oh shit!"
All the cameras. All the other cameras.
Go,
"Look at this guy."
I knew everybody's seeing the shit, and I get up there, and I'm, "Oh my gosh!" I tell the presenters, Willie O'Ree is one of the presenters. I said, "Can you guys believe I almost just bit it?" And they were laughing. And then I'm like, "Oh shit, live TV! I don't want to get the playoff. I got to turn around because I got these words I got to say." So when I turn around, you guys, one of the presenters says, "Rico, this is yours," and she's handing me the award, and hold that for me. And I went right into like I've done this before. Look at my hands. I'm like this. I'd like to first of all, thank. And I'm just rattling off some shit, man. and then I go on. I decide I'm going to ad lib. I'm bad motherfucker now, and I'm going to ad lib.
You pulled the Biden.
Screen with your remarks, and the only way I had an inkling I might win is because they said my remarks were too long. I'm like, if I didn't win, why do they care? So that's the only idea that I had coming into this. I may have won. And so my remarks were up there. I'm reading them. Then I thought to myself, we call ourselves Flintstones here in Flint for obvious reasons, right? So I decide I acknowledge my friends and family in my hometown of Flint, Michigan, and abroad. And then I said something like, out of way, Flintstones, but it came out Flint Five. Shit. So I can think of the fucking script. So now I'm like, get through it. And I acknowledged my wife, and I looked over there at her, and if she was crying, I was going to lose it. I know I would have started crying. I was holding on, right? And then just as I was finishing my last statement, you won't see this likely in any of the views that you see, but there's a black hockey player by the name of PK Subban, who's now an analyst. He's bigger than life hockey player, and he's in the stand. And keep in mind, Alex Trebek was there that year. I mean, this place was loaded with who's who of who's who. And I was careful not to look down. And as I'm finishing up my statement, my eyes drifted down, and there was PK, and he's looking up at me. And the way I knew was he smiled and did one of these. And I said, I got starstruck. And I did it. I said, thank you very much. I did a half a black power sign. It was going on. I black powered, and I said, I got to get out of here with the NHL award, not the MVP award.
Dude, I have tomorrow morning when I get my coffee at 5:30 in the morning, I'm watching that thing. And, I can't wait.
I go off stage, you guys,
Dude,
and
that's hilarious.
behind me, I'm walking, and then I realize, holy shit, I don't even know where I'm going. There's nobody with me. And I look over the band, and they're like, do we play now? And they start playing. They're looking at me, and then all of a sudden I hear Rico. And I'm like, who the hell's calling me up here? I turn around. It's Catherine Tappan. She's got the fucking award. She's like, you want the award?
You're a mess.
That fucking trophy, man.
You're a mess.
Yeah, I'll take it. But it was a day that changed my life. Not for just that moment. When I got back to Flint and I seen billboards, electronic billboards with congratulations, Rico.
That's cool.
5 of them throughout our town, in our downtown. There was something about that. I realized I had something bigger for Rico, something different for Rico, not necessarily bigger, but different. Like all those years of wanting to be a firefighter, I tell the story about wearing that badge, that fire marshal badge when I was a kid. How am I going to take my badge off and just be Rico? Like I was firefighter Phillips in our community, and it was a big deal to me and lots of other people. And I was like, I can't go work at Walmart because I'll get fired for being a people greeter. People fucking forget what they're shopping for by the time I'm done talking to them, right? So that's not going to work. But after winning the award, I decided to retire. A lot of influences happened. The department had changed quite a bit. Leadership was, in my opinion, not the best at the time. And so it kind of drove me to a point where I had to find something different. And I'm going to take the high road out and not tell dirty stories about our department because it doesn't matter now. I choose to be better, not bitter. But I will say that I kind of left on a side note, I like side door almost, just by what I talked about, what I believe is when you get put in pedestals. I mean, the governor, she comes to Flint and gives me a proclamation at the fire station. All of a sudden, the Detroit Red Wings would come to the fire station. It was like overload of Rico fucking Phillips, right? And it was getting under people's skin, and it just, I felt unwelcome anymore. And so it was time to step out. And thank goodness it all happened the way it did, because it gave me a chance to slow down and reflect. I started doing some really cool stuff in hockey all of a sudden, and Detroit Red Wings had me there you go, for a ceremonial puck drop that same day. On my way to do that puck drop, which I'm a referee. You know how many fucking puck drops I've done? That was the most besides my first time. And I dropped it about the same. That's the bad part. But anyways, on my way to the locker room, or excuse me, to do the ceremony puck drop, the guy said, hey, the coach wants you to come in and say a few words to the players and read out the starting lineup. I mean, life-changing for me. I mean, my opening statement was, I'm just a kid from Flint. I'm not sure exactly how I got here, but, anyways, long story shorter, then the pandemic hit. And I think and something occurred during that pandemic that happened to a lot of people who do my type of work that I do now. George Floyd was murdered. And so it created this call to action. And me personally, I'm not a Black Lives Matter movement type action, because the way I looked at it at the time is it was pretty noisy, but I wanted to do something that's sustainable. I wanted to make sure that whatever I did was sustainable, not just raise hell and let everybody know I was raising hell about it, because everyone knew it was unjust, or majority of people knew it was unjust. How do we change our environment around us is the way I internalize it. So I reached out to Willie O'Ree to see how he's doing, because we're during the pandemic, and I told him I was struggling. and with what was going on in the world. And he said, Rico, I'm going to tell you something right now. He said, people are listening to you in hockey right now. And they want to know what you have to say. So you better keep on speaking. And the hair stood up on the back of my neck. I didn't know what it meant. I hung up. And the next day I sent a letter off to the Ontario Hockey League commissioner. And he said, ironically, we're looking for someone. I wasn't looking for a job. I was just looking to support whoever is doing that work. Because I had a team here in Flint and I want to do something bigger than just what I could, just local. I wanted to get bigger with my attempt. And there was nobody that does this work in major junior hockey. So after 6 phone calls that summer, is 2020, we created the commissioner says, well, what should we call you? After he created a position for me, I said, I don't know. He said, well, I like this director of cultural diversity and inclusion. What do you think? And I said, sounds good to me. And so I started working for the Ontario Hockey League, which is one of the most prominent major junior hockey leagues, 16 to 20-year-old players in the whole world. The majority of draft picks in the NHL each year come through the OHL. So I got a great track record. And my role as diversity inclusion director is interesting. Some folks on here would probably be kind of like, how the hell? Because even my hockey buddies are like, you're the chirp police now? Because I'm like all of us. I'm witty as hell. I try to be and try to have fun. And I know for a fact over my career, I've said things, I've heard things that are totally today's standards, so to speak, would be appropriate, right? I'm not going to say I apologize because that's how we spoke. But I've had, because of that experience, it helped me do the work that I'm doing now, have to take my own reflection of life and like realize, hey, it doesn't make me a bad person. I'm not at fault. I'm going to make mistakes just like everyone else, and just trying to help hockey players through that and help diversify the sport, because as you likely know, it's not as diverse as it could be. And I think that goes beyond players. That's the support staff, like the trainers and equipment managers and the coaching staffs and those folks. That's where we're missing the boat. Our sport could be much stronger, I guess is what I'm saying. I know we're supposed to be talking about firefighting, but
dude, that's all right.
That's all right. I am entertained by you, Mr. Rico.
No, I wouldn't be where I'm at without my firefighting career. I mean, as far as what I do now,
right?
So give you an example by that. I mean, in 1995, when I was in the union, 96, the females in our fire department didn't have policies that help protect their rights, right? So there was no separate dorms, no separate washrooms or bathrooms. We call them here I can tell I've been in Canada a bit, call them washrooms. But anyways, we didn't have a separate facilities. We didn't have a pregnancy policy, which was really something that was important. So I was on one of the first negotiating teams that helped bring that to light. And through that process, I got a chance to didn't know what the term meant at the time, but have empathy for others and recognize that moment in time, as well as many others, helped me prepare me for today and understanding my role today.
Empathy for others, right? Isn't that really key for anything in life, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It takes you outside yourself, for crying out loud.
How tough is it? We were talking, we talked a couple of times before, the last few weeks, and we were talking, I think, this morning, and I was saying that, and we were saying, like, the way you grew up, right? You handled stuff, right?
Yeah.
I handled stuff, right? So, I was Italian and a mostly, Irish thing, right? It was just, that's how it was. You had to handle your business. You didn't want it to go outside of that.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about that on the show. That might be like an old school thought. You know what I mean? I think it's a combination of, you don't want to run out the first chance you get because somebody called you a name or whatever it is, right? But how do you balance that? How do they balance that now? Is it easy?
No, what I try to exemplify is first thing is I don't just say here's a book, read it. I go and do presentations all the time with players, and what I try to do is get them. One of the things I do is a cultural experiment or exercise, cultural exercise with them. And I reintroduce myself after they've already gotten to know me a bit from a cultural standpoint. Like I told you, where my parents are, like something I didn't tell you about my grandparents. I don't believe that my grandfather on my father's side is direct descendant of slavery out of Mobile, Alabama. I can trace it right to when they were imported into this country. And then my grandfather on my mother's side is a World War II veteran from the Nazi regime, fought on the front lines of Russia and Poland. So if you think my family tree would have ever fucking
You're a
collided. and made
mishmash,
root.
bro.
So I'm predisposed genetically to be diverse in the way I think. There's no damn way it can't be, right?
Yeah.
But with that said, what I try to do is allow each player, in this case, we're talking about players, to be proud of who they are as a person. Because I think sometimes what happens now with the way the world's changing, I'm going to be frank because I'm in a sport full of white people, that white people almost feel almost defensive, like I can't be myself. When before you could be yourself, but then it was like it was in essence as if you were keeping someone else down. That isn't necessarily the way it is. So now the things are changing. Sometimes people find themselves on a defense about who they are and who they can be. And so I'm giving that back to players. But the idea behind it is so that they have respect, first of all, for themselves and their culture, but more importantly, for everyone else around them, whether it be in the team or on their opponents. We all have a different walk of life. So I'm starting to try to create ways so that's easier for them not to have it in the forefront. I'm not going to say it to begin with. So I don't have to worry about the scrutiny of where I came up and all this other stuff. So in the fire service, it's different. We're all grown men and women. And the most important thing I can tell you, anybody, is if someone has crossed the line with you, it doesn't mean it's time to go off and fucking snap on them unless it's something that's deep seated. Obviously, that's human nature. It certainly isn't time to necessarily go run off and tell somebody what happened. It's time for them to understand what empathy is and understand how you feel, right? And then through that process, you'll probably feel how they feel because you'll understand that you've said some dumb shit before too, right? And so it's a way to connect better now. In the past, we just blow it off, right? My first several years of life, I was an Oreo, half-breed, zebra. My name wasn't Rico. When I got in the department, it was some of the same thing. My black firefighter friends thought I was white. My white firefighter friends thought I was black. And so for me being mixed, I was like dancing the line, and I had to stop all that and say, Rico, do what you enjoy doing. So, yep, I was the black guy that played hockey, and they loved it, and they knew it, and they embraced it. They knew what the black guy that snowmobiles. You sure he's black? I get it. I'm not crossing barriers, man. I love going across the other line and see what happens, man. I guess, but it's part of who I am. I think, like I said, my mom had always taught me that you judge, the whole judge book by a cover thing. But she'd always told me, people's characters get revealed, and that's the one you really need to worry about, their character.
I got to tell my kids the same thing, bro, because they're half Spanish, half Asian, half white. So
yeah,
I got to tell them the same thing all the time, man.
I try to express everybody be proud of who you are. There's no reason you shouldn't be, but just be accepting of others' difference from you, and that's where we all can kind of like. So before we get too deep in this, like I teach empathy now, like I talk about it, but what we do in many cases, empathy is back here in the back of our head. We understand what it means, put ourselves in other people's shoes. But most of us only think about empathy when we need it. We don't think about it when we have to give it. And so that when we start reversing that,
we're always your feelings are first all the time. It's very hard to put somebody else's feelings first and say, wait a minute. What am I saying or doing right now that's making this? How is this person feeling for what I'm doing right now?
Yeah, and let's face it, some of it comes from blind spots. I was raised like probably everybody in this call in an era where we use homophobic slurs like there were nothing. Not recognized. Now I recognize I'm different. I had to learn that in this job. I said some stupid shit just since I've been on this job, so it doesn't escape me.
We still do. I mean, me and Coops do that.
Oh my God, dude! My brother was the biggest offender of that all time. What are you gay? What are you? What are you this? What are you that? What are you that? What? And it winds up, his son is gay. Now all of a sudden, God forbid you slip and say, "What's the matter with you? What are you, a girl?" So, whoa! You can't say that.
And you're like, wait a minute. You were the worst. You were the worst one out of everybody.
You were the worst one.
Right. Oh, here's one for me. I'll give you this. So a skinny fucker. I was always chastised for being skinny, but I cracked on a guy too. I remember this guy is Lynn. I better not say his name. He walked by one morning. And the whole crew's we were about a roll call, about to change, and I said, "Hey, everybody, stop! You hear that screaming?" I'm like, "What?" I said, "I can hear screaming. Listen." And I get everybody close, and all of a sudden, laid my ear next to my man's belt. I said, "His fucking belt is screaming to let him loose." Boys lost it because I'm the skinny fucker, right? Oh, you're skinny fucker. But so my point is, I probably wouldn't say that joke anymore because I'm sensitive about being skinny. But
Sensitive about nothing.
Plus balls, right?
Listen, when you get your balls broken enough, like, what are you going to say to me that somebody hasn't said to me a million times
Well,
already?
Coobs, I was just going to say that, I mean, it really is very similar. The Firehouse, I mean, I played hockey my whole life. Any team that you played on, if you played with those guys all the time, it's very similar. Can you imagine what the NHL guys, you know, all those guys, the OHL, they're with each other all the time, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same as the fire department. You go outside the doors or you go play another team, right? Your team's the best, right? If that guy's fighting, you're fighting, right? It didn't matter. Everybody's fighting. We're fighting. I mean, you see it all the time. There's 5 guys fighting 5 guys because that's you're fighting my guys. We're fighting, right? And it's the same thing in the fire department. Our firehouse is the best, and you're going to have pride, and you're going to try and beat the people in and do whatever you have to do, and that's it. So I kind of always felt there was a similarity, you know, there in any group that you're in. I guess the military, you know, all that stuff.
I can tell you this, that just like my career, I had to give up fighting. I fucking hurt myself throwing a punch. I hurt myself, my shoulder. I didn't hit the guy hardly. Stop!
Stop playing.
Oh, my arm, broken. All right, we got to get back to firefighting. I think we got to get to the old school tip.
Yeah, I think we're. Is there anything else, Rico, that you had before we get to the old school tip?
Anything else you want to make my face hurt?
My face hurts, brother. My face is killing me, man.
Good. Woo. All right, so is it that time? Can I get it ready?
I think it's that time. You got it, or I got it?
Yeah, you got it, bro. You do it.
All right.
It's time for.
All right, it's time for.
Ready, Ruff?
Here we go.
The old school tip of the day.
All right, being a classic schooler, I think the biggest tip that I can take is that each day that you show up to work, bring passion with you, even on those days you don't want to. If you don't have that passion, learn that passion. And if you have that passion, you got to share it with others so they follow in your footsteps, because all of us have firefighters that never, like me, grew up to want to be a firefighter. And so they need to figure out what it's about from where our passion lies. You know, it isn't just looking cool in a uniform. It takes much more than that, as you all know. So share your passion. And, you know, one of the firefighting things that I can say is that I think I said it earlier, like, keep your mouth shut. Your actions speak so much louder than your words. And when your time comes to speak up and be an advocate and ally for yourself and for others around you. You know, it's really important because we're losing out the team in this whole firefighting thing, and it's starting to become a bunch of individuals. And I'm hoping that those of you that are listening think to yourself, you know, I'm going to be the one that helps pull our team together and makes it so, whether it's just your crew or you know, however many folks you can pull them together. It's what makes your career your career. It's not a job, it's a career. And especially this special career that we're so lucky to have. And for the old guys, there's, you know, like me, like trying to figure out what's next. Like, you know, it's hard. It is hard to make that decision. Like all the variables that comes into play when you're trying to decide what to do next. Just realize one thing: if you can look at Rico, no, you might not win a Willie O'Ree award, but there is something for you out there. This is my second calling. Find your second calling. At 50 years old, I was able to totally redefine myself as far as what my importance would be. Nope, I'm not saving lives. I'm not preventing fires, but I'm hopefully saving a bit of humanity. And you know, I'm taking my experiences that I've got as a firefighter with me wherever I go. In fact, I was looking through my stuff today, and I couldn't find a Flint Fire hat, so I will put a Flint Fire Scully on. I can't believe I'm on them, but I wore them all the time. So, wait a minute, I got that right?
Yeah, you got it.
I
like I wear my hat. I like the little Guppolini. I wear my Guppolini all the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. You know what? Guys, you can put a.
Yeah, I got it.
You know what I'm gonna say? When Louis called me like a smitten little 13-year-old, said, "I got this guy from Flint, bro." You know what, Rico? He was right, man. You were one of the better guests we've ever had on.
Thank you, man. That means a lot to me. I got to be honest. I was nervous. I was nervous because I heard some of the other guys, and I don't have some of the fantastic stories about fires, but my career was a fantastic career, and I take nothing back from it.
Everybody's career is unique, and everybody's got something to offer. Like you said, man, just listen. And
I mean, you
So
went
really-
outside the lines too. I mean, you did a lot of.
Oh
other
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
mean,
Don't
that's
get
good
me
stuff.
wrong, man. I was I was in the midst of the shit, but especially in those '90s and early 2000s, and I had my fair share of trauma after that initial trauma. Like I said, it kind of set me up for what I was about to see. And I got to be honest with you, at the end, I was like, so as a quartermaster, you know, I was going to calls the first couple of years, and even some of the older guys, man, what are you doing here? Quartermaster, you're messing up the job. I'm like, man. So I started taking pictures of the guys so I could be a part of it. And then about the last year, I started showing up, and I feel so bad for the residents that I could tell my walls were breaking down. You know, those barriers that we put up so we can go do our jobs. Those were breaking down. I was starting to, oh man, I'm just feeling bad for people. The rest of the night, I said, I got to stop going to fire calls, man. This is getting bad. And my last call, we had done some boat training, you guys. And a bunch of guys are scared to drive a boat, never been in a boat. We're on the lake, and I got them doing training, even though I'm the quartermaster. And we get a call for a boat call right as I'm about to leave, 5 o'clock. I said, shit, I got to go. I've been doing this all day. Get over there. I get there early. They flip the damn door over, and there's two people tied together floating in the river. I'm like, why did I freaking show up to this, man? I'm almost out of here. And I
got to get out of here. Every time I get out, they pull me back in.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll leave on that note, eh?
Gonzo, give him one more for the road. Ken, give him one more.
What do you want? Which one do you want?
You know which one.
You know which one. Come on.
Nobody cares about hockey. That includes everyone.
I just wanted to make sure because
baby.
Rico, thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thanks for having me. It really means a lot to me. Thank you.
Excellent time. Get all those guys in Flint, Michigan to subscribe and like
You've done
and
good,
share.
brother. You've done
Yeah,
well.
for sure.
You really
You got
good,
a lot
man.
to be proud of.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the award, everything, man.
Great
Thank
job.
you very much.
I always
All right.
like Willie's hat too. He's got a good hat. You know.
Yeah. I was trying the fedora out, and I said, nah, I got a narrow head, a little bit skinny head. You got to have a little rounded ball up there.
Let's get. Can we play his music one more time, Gons? His video was awesome, bro. I can't believe what a great.
We'll do it again, and don't forget those other two commercials.
Oh, forget. You was something back in the day, Rico.
Yeah,
you really
man.
were, bro. Good for you.
Thanks, guys. It was a pleasure.
Gons, play those two commercials really quick. We have responsibilities here. You know, it's not all fun and games.
All right, we'll rack it out and then dig up a health and safety tip.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Established in 1930 and under the current ownership since 1987, the New Jersey Fire Equipment Company handles a complete line of fire department equipment and supplies. Headquartered in Greenbrook, the company operates full 3M Scott service facilities in Ridgefield Park and Toms River, staffed by 10 fully authorized Scott certified technicians with a fleet of 6 fully equipped service vans. All New Jersey fire technicians and sales representatives are active or retired firefighters, officers or chief officers, career and volunteer. They understand the business and the importance of their work. New Jersey Fire has represented Scott since Earl Scott entered the SCBA business at the end of World War II. Among other leading manufacturers represented by New Jersey Fire are Globe and Firedex Turnout Gear, Mercedes Hose, Task Force Tips and Akron Brass, Hygenol, Firehooks, Arctic Compressors, MSA Carnes Helmets, ChemGuard Foam, Alkalite and Duo Safety Ladders, BA Face Shield Protectors, Truckman's Choice Saws, Grove's Gear Racks and Washer Dryers, Supervac Fans, RPI, Streamlight, and many others. A New Jersey incorporated and based company, sales and service are limited to the state of New Jersey. Find us now at www.njfe.com. That's www.njfe.com.
Beautiful. Get the health and safety because I got one.
Here we go.
The First Responders Center for Excellence is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to protecting the lives and livelihoods of first responders. Their education and research initiatives aim to bring greater awareness and understanding to the challenges to the health, safety, and well-being of firefighters, EMS personnel, and other first responders, too. They are an affiliate of the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation.
Look at me. I'm telling Tony.
Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
I'm telling Tony to subscribe on the side over here. So,
okay.
All right, listen, this is a very personal one. I say it all the time. Me and Ruffy say it all the time. But there's another guy that Rob Brown saved by doing the full mock up, the WTC Advanced Medical. Did you know that? What's his name? We grew up with him. Rob. He's in the 14th Division.
McBride.
Robbie McBride just got picked up. He needed a stent. He thought everything was good. Rob sent him for
CAT scan.
cardio scan, and it turns out he needs a stent. So what I'm saying to you guys is, if you retire, don't go 20, 25, 27, 30 years of doing this job that's very difficult and then not live long enough to enjoy your retirement. Get the tests, leave it, eat sensible, exercise, and go get yourself checked out, because early detection is the key. And if you pick it up, you can get it fixed and you can live another 34 years. And you could be like Rico and bang guys in the boards in his early 60s. You know what I mean?
Hockey pucks in the face.
Hockey pucks in the face. Doing all of that shit. I don't know what I did to the chat. I don't know what I did.
What'd you do? You minimized it, but I'll just piggyback that. Every 6 months I go and get checked, man.
You do?
Every 6 months, man.
All right. Excellent. All right. So who do we got on Thursday night? Ruffy Potamus?
I don't know. I had two. I got the guy from Baltimore, but he can't do. I don't think he's going to do Thursday.
Oh, maybe I'll call the guy from Chicago. I got 2 hard charges from Chicago. I might call.
Oh, a couple of Jaguars.
Jaguars again. All right, we'll let you know anyway. All right, guys. Rico, great time. Thank you for being such a good sport.
Thank you.
Oh yeah,
appreciate it. And we'll see you guys Thursday night.
That's what I got for sure. I wanted to just put up Rico's Inner City Club for you guys if you wanted to see it for the. Check them out.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description too.
We'll put it in the description. It's Flint, for you guys that are just listening, Flint Inner City Youth Hockey.org, for you guys who are just listening. Get over to there.
Facebook. We're definitely on Facebook under Flint Inner City Youth Hockey.
On Facebook too. Yeah. Excellent.
And you can see pictures of us actually doing what we do each week.
Awesome. And remember, nobody cares about hockey. All right, guys, until Thursday night. Stay low and go.
All right, everybody. Rico, thanks again, brother.
Yeah,
we'll see you at the big one, everybody.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in and seeing the top floor, baby.
Good night. All right.